I'm James Gilliland, and I'm the founder of ESETI, which stands for Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And we've been doing this for pretty much 40 years. The ranch has been around for, I think, 37, 38 years. ESETI, the actual location. I've been in contactee all my life. I've had 2 major near-death experiences, several white light experiences. I've studied for 36 years intensely with lamas and yogis and master teachers around the world. As far as Peter Slattery's evidence, I know Peter very well. We've spent a lot of time together. He's like my brother from another mother. But everywhere Peter goes, there's activity, not just UFO activity, and he gets the best photographs of anybody I know, but spiritual activity as well. And he's getting incredible photographs of the beings themselves. So it's unsurpassed. I think he's probably number one as far as getting credible evidence of UFOs and the beings themselves. The reason that we're having contact and we're having incredible videos taken and photographs and the pictures of the beings themselves is because we've all risen to the occasion, and they're looking for intelligent life, basically, and those are people that have risen to the occasion that are spiritual. They don't care about your left brain. They want people with the emotional capabilities and the telepathic capabilities that they can communicate with. So that's why we're so successful, because we've taken a spiritual approach to contact. And you know, all of us, there's several of us that we know when the ships are there. We know who's on the ships. We know all about their cultures, their technology, everything. You know, the reason these beings are visiting Earth right now is several reasons. One, there are beings that have been here all along, and they have their technologies. Some of them went under during the days of Atlantis and Lemuria through the pole shifts and cataclysms, and they have their ships. There are beings that have been around for quite some time that some would call the reptilians or some of the greys, and I would strongly urge people to avoid that group. You don't want to hang out with that group, and they are very good at taking over people in power or people that are leaders in all fields. They're very good at stepping in and, you know, preying upon your ego or your lack of integrity, you might say. There's some other benevolent beings that are us. They're our ancient ancestors. They were the Palladians that started the original colonies of Atlantis and Lemuria. The ancient Lyrians started the first colonies, and they're the ancestors of the Palladians. There's the Orion Council of Light, Arcturians, the Syrians. They're all well documented. The lion beings are well documented. The feline beings throughout history. But they've been coming and going, and we've reached a point in time where, you know, we're ready for contact. We're ready to reunite with the greater family of man and to turn this planet around.
It's lighting up for me, giving me a real nice stable. Whoa, whoa, thank you, thank you.
There's a lot of different types of beings out there. There are the typical greys, like there's beings from the Pleiades, Orion, Sirius, the Andromeda constellation, as well as the Andromeda galaxy, Arcturus, many different places. Now, with that said, not all these beings that I'm interacting with are even from another star system. There is that happening. This is where it gets even trippier, to where some of these beings are from inside the Earth, some of these beings are living right beside us, and some of these beings are even coming back from the future. So how do you tell people this? Like, this is what I know. This isn't a belief system. This isn't what I think. This is what I know. And that's sort of where it gets complicated, because people have got a preconceived notion that it's just some little green dude coming from Zeta Reticuli in a flying saucer. But the fact is, this is more multidimensional than one can perceive if they're not open to it, or if they're very linear in their thinking. And this is where, if people are just open-minded in general and they're open to these things, or they've experienced some things, like they've got that, they get the wheels turning so they can start to understand those concepts and ideas. So there's also angelic type energies and celestial energies, and then pure thought form energies that come from these pure thought form conscious realms as well. ETs aren't even 5% of what's out there. It's said today that there are 2 trillion galaxies in the visible universe. Now, you grab all that, even with the other dimensions where beings can exist still in those areas, meaning you can have life in this dimension, and then you can have life in the next dimension still on that body, but a different aspect of that body, we could say a different facet of that body, or of a planetary body. So you get all that over the 2 trillion galaxies, and that's still not even 5% of what's out there from what my knowledge is and what I've experienced, and I definitely don't know it all. With the more experiences and the more learning and the reconnecting back to what I could say I know on a higher level, I'm still realising how little I do know. All one consciousness interacting with itself, we don't die, we go from life to life to life to life, and from the way it's been explained to me is that it's all about experiencing and gaining knowledge for the overall collective. And sometimes there are things we're meant to do, whether it's holding space or going somewhere to partake or to do something. And from my understanding, that's what's going on right now, is that we as a collective are going through a huge shift in consciousness, and that humans, like, there's nothing like us in the universe. We're a conglomerate of many different races, including angelic energies, and what we can do a lot of these other races can't do, but we don't know it yet because of the vibratorial state that we're in. But once we join together as a collective and embrace who we are, really the sky, beyond the sky is the limit. But we've got to go through this individually and as a collective. So we've got to work on ourselves first, and have forgiveness for ourselves and for others, and see where we can be of service. You know, how can we be of service and help our fellow human? Would you give the shirt off your back to help your fellow human? How we treat ourselves, the environment. These are big things in play right now that are part of this shift in consciousness. And what's happening here is actually has been going on for so long, meaning we could say we haven't been developing, and that's because of external influences, that we've allowed this to happen at the same time, that this has sort of stunted the growth of the universe at the same time, with other beings moving up the chain in their evolution as well. But we're seeing this being sorted out right now.
As far as the ETs impacting the human race positively, there's been a push-pull thing going on. There are some that have been impacting the race in a negative matter, and they're the controllers, the manipulators. And then there's some that are all about freedom and empowering the individual and helping people to make their own connection with Source, God, Creator, whatever you want to call it, Great Spirit. You know, everybody has a name for it. Almost all paths lead to the same thing as long as you honor the universal principles. But as far as they bring that, they bring universal law, they bring peace, they bring universal peace and galactic peace, basically. They bring an end to disease, they bring an end to poverty, they bring a different way of living in harmony and unlimited life. They bring a quantum leap in consciousness and evolution. So there's nothing but good to reunite with the greater family of man, and they're also here to remove the ones that have impacted humanity in a negative manner. So there's nothing but upside on this. The evidence that we are not alone is irrefutable. NASA knows all about it. They have their own crew they send out whenever there's a landing or an encounter. So does the Air Force. They have all that evidence. We have evidence of landing. We've had agreements made between different groups throughout the years. We have the secret space fleet. We have technology beyond your imagination already that's not in the regular sector. But that's all going to be released here pretty soon. That's what we're moving toward. You know, we don't need fuel anymore, and we can go to Mars or the moon in literally minutes. You know, it's not a long trip for these technologies, and we need to get these technologies out in the right hands. There's no reason why we should ever have another plane crash or even another car crash with these technologies. There's no reason why people should be dying of cancer and all these other diseases, or not being able to grow a new limb or things like that. The military that have served, you know, have lost limbs and arms and actually grow a new one. You know, we have all that technology. So this needs to get out into the public sector, and needs to get out of the hands of the controllers, and basically they have technology beyond that, you know, unimaginable technology. As far as what this means for the human race, these beings operate under universal law. And the best way I can sum it up is it's universal peace, brother-sisterly love, individual freedom and prosperity for everyone. They see the Creator in all creation. They don't divide and separate, and they don't worship external gods. And they bring that ancient wisdom to us along with extreme technologies. They've conquered disease. All their energy needs. They have anti-gravity, they have counter-gravity. They can jump dimensions with their technology. They can bilocate, and they can do it both technologically and spiritually. They can morph their ships into 4 ships with the same crew on it. So they have technology unsurpassed. We have videos of this technology being displayed. And you know, if humanity's ready to take a quantum leap in consciousness and pretty much end disease and lack and poverty and all the other things that plague us, that's what they're here for.
We are more than what we think, and we are multidimensional beings. And once we understand that and accept that, where we can go from here is absolutely amazing.
The bottom line is we need to start becoming more conscious of how we interact with each other and the planet. We need to rise to the occasion. We need to live a more natural life closer to the earth, in harmony with nature. You know, we need to, you know, stop the disease and war profiteering, you know, putting into that. And we just need to start caring for each other and taking care of each other and taking care of our environment. And the message the ETs have is the same message every master teacher's brought. You know, go within, make your own personal connection with Creator, and be kind to each other and be kind to the planet. And they have the same message.